Hey guys, Tuesday the 21st of December, and here we are on the run into Christmas. What we saw yesterday was a bit of selling off of the open on US equities and largely bought up around half four. The downside was pretty much put in by 4 p.m. and then another attempt at a new low was put in. Actually, technically, a new low was achieved at half four, and then back up we went with the dip buyers. So with the bonds, I was looking at hedging some of that yesterday for long on the bonds, and it just really wasn't lifting at 4 o'clock. So I took it off, and sure enough, we just sat around the lows for the rest of the session until half four, and then those buyers kind of slowly came in and bid us back out of there. On the Dow, for example, you did see a more significant low, I would say, from the initial push low in the European session. Then we made that low on the open around 35 34 591s 34 591s, and just incrementally put in a bit of a rounded bottom here before then getting bid back on up, and a little bit of a gap here still open on Dow, as there is also on the Nasdaq over here. And SPOO's kind of 45.84s acting as support, but a little bit of a gap there. So I'll just change the color on this range above on the SPOOs. But if we go over on the Nasdaq and the weekly, you see the 20 exponential weekly moving average. Well, we can actually change this back to a daily, right, to get a good sense of this market here. And just let me rearrange this chart a little bit like this, and here we go. So all right, essentially yesterday back to the 100 EMA, putting in the low, bid back up. So I mean, it's quite strong. We do have a pure defense line bottom on this market for now anyway. 16163 and a halves coming into confluence with the trend that's in effect here. So I think downside is limited. The 100 EMA has been bought. Back to the 50 now. I think 16,000 retest could be on the cards for today, just as long as the 15,701s holds, and that is the high of the 7th of September of that week. And so that's definitely going to come in. But just to be aware now, I think the longs are in for sure, but just to make yourself aware, there is a gap here, from the reopen of trade 2300 hours on the Nasdaq, as there is across the board on all these US equities. And you get this with the dip buying, and saying gap up after, getting a lot of buyers interested. Those swing traders on the moving average strategies definitely chowing down on the 100 EMA. SPOOs on the daily chart here, you can see on the right hand side of your screen, this level, the high of the 25th of October, and also the high on the 27th of October, and then the low on the 6th of December coming into play. Nice area to kind of look to get long this morning. It's 45.84s even. Currently supported by the 50 EMA. I think while I do like longs off of the 45.84s, I wouldn't mind seeing this gap fill on the bottom first. That would be 45.57 quarter, and then we kind of bid back on up there. So do be aware of these levels for support to come in. If we don't find support on 45.84s, you better stand off the book until, if you want to be long, definitely I wouldn't want to be buying below 45.84s until we kind of hit that 45.57 quarters. And the Dow, it's showing you the Dow on the daily chart. Well, actually, here we are on a weekly, which kind of illustrates everything a bit better. So currently, the top on the day really is the high of the week, 29th of November. That's 35.156s. I think, albeit a pullback is quite nice here. But if you look at this trend here, right, this trend from kind of the high week 16th October, August, to the high of the 30th of August. This gives us this downtrend, which is a pretty almighty area to kind of have a line in the sand. We have taken a bid off of that and pivot this morning. I don't know if we're going to get a full pullback onto that. We do have the gap here, so I'm gonna see how she trades on the open, and if it does get aggressive above 35,156s, you have target 35,340s for getting out there or certainly scaling something decent off of your trade. On the longs, just be aware of these gaps though. Oil's been a tricky little beggar. Seeing this area, sort of ledge of, I have this ledge here because of a lot of the excess you see on the lows here. If I kind of zoom in here, you can kind of see a lot of excess into this area. So this is the excess low here, and then these candles closing all up here, and then it kind of comes into play over here, right? Supply and demand. So really, what can be derived from this? Well, we have a gap here, right, from that opened up Sunday trade to Monday, right? We've now tested into that gap low 69.88, and it's not looking very supported, is it? But for me, I think this was a resistance area that we kind of largely traded into in the European session this morning. We're resistant on the gap low. I think we'd come down now and put in some support 69.19s, and then maybe make another assault to the upside here. But largely, this market, I have to say, is skewed to the downside. I don't really know what to do with oil at the moment. I think it's kind of failed on a pretty important test this morning at these highs. So I'd rather be standing back. I think actually, given this ledge area, I think we are actually going to print lower prices today. We do have this target for the buyers to start getting to work 65.40s on the low. So yeah, I'd rather wait for this area to trade again and then get involved on oil. So yeah, an important inflection there. Let's see, nat gas here, just out of the corner of my eye, you can see nat gas. It's got this huge gap here area in yellow, and it is making inroads at trying to get up there, but there is this trend, right? This big trend in the way, just providing really decent resistance on the market. Anytime we do kind of get in here, it's just really hard for this market to get on up. But I still think you have good tight risk on the bottom of this area, 3 spot 826s longs, and then targeting up to the 20 EMA, scaling something out on the trend, and trying to play for that bigger push above, right? It's a big area. Putting on the chart calculator, like you're really looking at from at market to top is about 264 ticks here. What else? I think it's bigger than that actually. But either way, it's a 6.83% move for nat gas. So I'm been monitoring this now for what seems like over a week. Yeah, so I like the longs in nat gas. You see, just while I'm talking now, it's kind of really taking a bit up here, right? It's going to pull back, and I think it might shape up for a decent long today. As essentially the fundamental picture does remain for nat gas bulls. Really, the winter isn't that warm. The situation with Russia is continuing, and just out of the corner of my eye, you're seeing bonds coming off quite aggressively here, actually, in the background. Show you this here. You see them while I've been talking. Nice push down to the S1, and could continue to soften off on the risk tone here as well. So just keep an eye on that, and that's more food for really the longs. So all right, that's about it for me for today. Please do click to subscribe on YouTube, and give me a shout if you want to jump into the Discord. And otherwise, have a fantastic day, and I will speak to you tomorrow. Cheers.